Tens of thousands of Vietnam veterans here in Pennsylvania are continuing to fight a war within their own bodies. Theirs is a story not often told, but two men from our area are sharing their health battle, happening decades after their service in Vietnam. Here is Action 16 Investigates' Stacey Lang.
Last month, we introduced you to two women from Schuylkill County on a mission to honor their late husbands who died decades after their service in Vietnam. The men suffered from illnesses related to their exposure to Agent Orange. We're now getting an idea of just how many Pennsylvania veterans are impacted by Agent Orange. It affects so many veterans that we found one living right next door to one of the widows we interviewed.
My wife did this. Mostly, she did all of that when she was still living.
There was a time when Bob Bodish wasn't proud of his service.
A lot of it's Saigon and there's some Philippines in there, I think.
But now, in his home in Pine Grove, there's a whole room dedicated to his Air Force career during the Vietnam War. Bodish often worked on the planes that sprayed a chemical called Agent Orange across the Vietnamese countryside.
It's called the Operation Ranch Hand, okay? And they used to spray this, and they could see the three airplanes. And when the airplanes used to come in, we had to crawl all over those things full of that stuff. Sure I remember, very much.
Bodish first learned that his exposure to Agent Orange could cause health problems in the 90s, when the federal government started to acknowledge the harm Operation Ranch Hand had on the Vietnamese and on our own veterans. Bodish has since developed diabetes and a nerve disorder called neuropathy.
I figured, the government would take care of us, and they wouldn't spray anything that's gonna kill us, and they did. But they killed a lot of natives, the people who lived there. And I'll tell you, it was terrible.
While Bob Bodish served from the air, Bob Morgan of Montour County served at sea.
And I did not want to be a foot soldier in Vietnam. So that's the reason I joined the Navy, but little did I know that, there's going to be other issues.
At just 18 years old, Morgan spent 13 months aboard the USS Caddo Parish off the coast of Vietnam. Agent Orange and Operation Ranch Hand were words he never heard back then.
I was down in the engine room, of course, and it's so stinking hot in Vietnam, and you have to stand under the vent that brings in the outside air. Well, guess what's in the outside air?
Morgan also has diabetes, mobility issues, and early signs of dementia, and now a battle with prostate cancer.
Because in a way, you're still fighting a war, right?
Yeah, it's always there. I ask myself why. And nobody can tell me why.
These men are not alone. We submitted a Freedom of Information Act request with U.S. Veterans Affairs to find out how many veterans in Pennsylvania are still fighting because of the Vietnam War. VA records show 27,336 Pennsylvania veterans are currently receiving compensation from the VA related to their exposure to Agent Orange. The veterans we spoke to say they've received excellent care from the VA that is fully paid for by the government. What they can't get back is time. Medical benefits were expanded to more veterans last year with the passage of the PACT Act. The VA tells us more than 2,500 Pennsylvania veterans have received Agent Orange benefits since the PACT Act was passed. But officials with the Pennsylvania Department of Military and Veteran Services at Fort Indian Town Gap estimate that the PACT Act has been underutilized by Vietnam veterans. Earlier this year, we spoke with Brian Natale about the challenge he faces getting Vietnam vets enrolled.
So it's a unique generation. They were not treated very well when they came home, so they do not have a lot of trust for any level of government.
Bob Morgan just received more money for in-home care when the time comes. He and his wife built their new home near Danville for the future, because Bob will eventually move from a cane to a walker to a wheelchair.
It's probably been time for quite a while, but I resist that thought of being, not to offend anybody, but being handicapped.
Both men say the best way to honor their sacrifice isn't with a memorial. It's to make sure that what has happened to them doesn't happen to another veteran.
I am a proud veteran, okay, and what I want to do it over again? Well, I don't know. I have to think about that. I feel sorry for the young kids that got killed.
Do you feel like veterans like you have gotten the recognition that they deserve?
Now, sometimes it almost brings tears to my eyes when somebody will come up to me and say, "Welcome home." I have to fight it.
And they'll keep fighting. Stacey Lang, Newswatch 16.